There was one ad that brought out the bank worst in you, the creeps in our audience.
How is it Australians are so laid back? It's simple. They're all wearing comfy undies.
Crikey. That looks less like a Bonds ad and more like Australia Zoo Weekly. That ad is filled with details that you might have missed for some reason, like this spider or Robert Irwin's other snake. Yeah. And I bet you didn't notice the cockatoo on the clothesline because there isn't one. Tricked you. Tricked you, you perv. A behind-the-scenes TikTok has been viewed by 24 million people who want to see Robert's behind a cam. Why make the squeaky clean kid whip his snake out?
Sometimes you just have to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
And they want to see Robert Irwin in his tidy-whities. And it's actually a really beautiful fit both for the brand but also for Robert Irwin as a personality.
They did fit beautifully.
I think it's a fit for Bonds because even this is a global campaign, so they're actually running it, but it works locally as well because he's sort of the 2025 version of Pat Rafter, you know, like kind of sexy guy next door. But given that they're going global, the fact that it's kind of Chris Hemsworth meets Crocodile Dundee, like that's peak Aussie and it's instant get, yeah? So it does really well for Bonds to launch globally and instantly build that Australia association. But actually for Robert as well, this is a really nice move on because it allows him to flex different muscles, but actually show that he has actually kind of grown up and he's come out from under. He's not a mini-me anymore. He's not sort of Steve Irwin's son. He's a hunk in his own right, and he can show his skills beautifully in this spot, which I actually think he has done. Like I mean, it is a magnificent spot overall. Like not beyond Robert. I think it is just, you know, it's. When I say it's beautiful to watch, I mean the entire spot. You know, it's just all the tiny details, the way that they have just completely lent into...
Oh, the details were not tiny.
This very Aussie larrikin spirit. But for me, it's like, it's all the tiny, tiny details. You know, it's the brief was almost like, keep it simple, but go big, like, you know, extra. And they...
It's okay, I'm stopping now.
Okay, can I talk about the execution?
Yes.
This spot, you know, there's been attention to detail on every element, but it's actually the sound effects for me that are almost like the soundtrack to your Aussie childhood. You know, it's like the tick 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 of the sprinkler, the sort of the crickets, that sort of, or cicadas in the background, the bird song. Like it's just this amazing symphony of Aussie sounds that is actually incredibly subtle. And what I love, it's like, if this is to a global audience, no one would even pick that up, but the care and attention that's been given is, you know, it's that level of attention to detail that makes this a truly magnificent spot.
There's nothing more exciting in the advertising world than actually finding a way to present the obvious. So the end line, made for Down Under, clearly it's really simple, clearly it's absolutely obvious, and as a result of being so simple and so obvious, it's going to absolutely work its arse off. So when you have that end line, you have Robert Irwin in there, you have a product which comes from Down Under, just that very simple Venn diagram means they are going to sell container loads of jocks.
The Irwins are like a multi-generational, meticulously curated, money-making brand. Up until he got his kid off, I would have said comparing him to the Kardashians is a bit unfair, but it's a free-for-all now. And it's run by his mom, Terry. And I'm not comparing her to Kris Jenner. She's probably sharper than Kris Jenner. But we know that she approves everything. So she's the brand manager, she's the executive producer, she's on set with him when he films, and you can see how well it's all stage managed. So he launched Bonds globally at the same time as he launched that he's going on the dancing show in America, and he's In Australia, he's on I'm a Celebrity. He appeals to two generations. So he appeals to the older generation because of Steve Irwin. So he represents legacy and trust and warmth and a kind of a fabric of Australia. And he appeals to the younger generation because he's that sort of hot-looking, somewhat geeky environmentalist on TikTok.
If you want to go viral, putting up a thirst trap of someone that people didn't realize was hot always breaks the internet. And it's not just about sex appeal, like it's a very, traditional PR technique. It's also about what are the things that can make sure it goes viral? And it really is about the right talent. But it's also about their power of influence, so how much people follow them, recognise them, how likeable they are. No one hates Robert Irwin, so you're not going to get a backlash. Are they oversaturated? He, up until this point, has done very daggy brand partnerships like HelloFresh, Tourism Queensland. In 20 years' time, when they're doing a biopic about him, they're going to show this picture and he's got the Bonds logo on his waist. They're always going to be synonymous with the brand. And the value of that is so huge for them ongoing. In terms of the aspiration of it, it's really gritty. And I think that's the thing is the youth aspire to be gritty and to be street. It's why there's so many eshés that come from the North Shore. They just want to be cool. And so they look at that and they're like, Americans don't know what a fibro house is. There's a muscle car in the background. Everything in there is new and exciting for them.
I think there's a dual appeal, because I was thinking, that looks like the backyard of a Northcote share house, right? There is that kind of, that which is sort of
the only unbelievable bit of the ad is that Bob Irwin is anywhere near that house. Literally, there would be people going, Bob Irwin's nude in our backyard, love. I reckon the Irwin kid's drunk. He's nude in the backyard with a crocodile and a snake over him. We're going to get him back to the zoo. And I repeat, Crikey.